Hello, hello, hello. Happy almost nowhere near on time Friday. Um, Welcome back to another Friday where we go live basically every Friday at around 3 p.m. Eastern and talk about a variety of subjects on the topic of digital marketing. This week, we are going over ways that you can maximize revenue with inside of your email system. How might you oh, Heather, that's funny. You're showing up, Heather, on the Instagram one for a hot second. So how might you turn cold prospects into actual customers? We spend a lot of money building a list of leads into our ecosystem, and what we want to do is make the most money as possible. So if you're new to this, awesome. Hello. See that we've got lots of the team. If you don't know about these, by the way, these are informal, but ideally informative. There's no like super big slide deck or organized method to this madness. I was like, oh my gosh, Carlos, hello from California. So we're just going to be going over ways that you can take advantage of getting the most out of cold prospects and converting them into paid customers, leveraging your ecosystems so that you make the most as possible. Happy Friday indeed. Kevin, oh my gosh, welcome. Glad to have you here. Okay, so let's talk about some of the things that I think a lot of people neglect when considering how they're communicating to their audiences on through their email or through their SMS systems. Most of the time when someone signs up for a lead or they come in from a phone call, they go into some sort of CRM. And when they're in that CRM or they're in that type of ecosystem, what happens next? A lot of the times that we'll see people that will a lot of times we'll see that people will just like fall off. They get into an ecosystem, they get an email, or they get some sort of follow-up series that hasn't been reviewed in at least 2 years. Hello, Randall. Welcome. So in the things that we can do so that when someone's coming in for an auditory clinic, if someone's coming in for a car dealership, or whatever that is, when they've come into your ecosystem, how do we take those cold prospects who are raising their hands and saying, I'm interested in hearing what you have to say, to converting into, I'm being interested in hearing what you have to sell? With lead gen, we know that we live and die by the follow-up of that list. With e-commerce, you have a different opportunity, right? You're trying to sell products and it's a bit more transactional. So I'm going to focus mostly on the lead gen side of this, but a lot of this is applicable for e-commerce. It's just not, it's more atypical for some of the things you can do, but it's all set up in the same Klaviyo ecosystem. So if you're generating leads for people that you want to work, the place that we always have to look and start with is what happens immediately after they've submitted the form or have done a phone call. Like, what does that experience look like? And it's, you haven't checked in a while, good time to check again. So what you want to do is look at the first piece of communication that they get. Someone submits a lead form and then it comes into someone's queue maybe to be contacted, but likely they're getting an automatic email and potentially an automatic text right away. What does that communication look like? We talk a lot about having that communication being personalized and relevant to who they are in your CRM and who they are in relationship to your brand. If it's someone that's signing up for your auditory clinic, for example, and they're looking to get a hearing aid and they've already signed up with your ecosystem before, do you continue to treat that person as if they are net new? Or do you have a different relationship where you're actually communicating with them like, hey, it's good to hear you again? I'm sure, Randall, there's a more clever way that you can do it. Or if someone is interested in leasing a BMW, forgive me, Carlos, I don't remember, oh my gosh, which cars you work with. It's probably like in your profile as well. But say someone is signing up to lease a specific car, they're interested in a vehicle, but they've signed up for another vehicle test drive or something like that 6 months before. If we're treating them as if they're new, we're ignoring the data that's already been provided to us. And that's an opportunity that we can easily close the gap between them feeling like they're cold and brand new to us feeling like we're warm and familiar to them. And so when you want to look at that first piece of communication they're getting, we need to evaluate it, whether it's an email or text message. Is it relevant to the one of the 4 or 5 avatars? Depends on the CRM that you're using, because software be softwaring and they have, different rules to sometimes engage with the do not contact again and not. But we want to say is that very first piece of communication that they're getting. Is that very first piece of communication that they're getting based off of who they are in relationship to your brand. If they've never touched your ecosystem before, okay, then they're probably getting the exact same communications that they have been getting. Yes, absolutely, Heather. Software be suffering is now a new Laurenisms. Like, it's Friday. It's been a long week. And I really feel like Dungeon Crawler Carl is like permeating into so much of what's going on. So anyways, that first piece, if they are truly net new, awesome. You can talk to them and do a little bit more of an introduction to validate why they signed up. But if they're not net new, if they've already been inside of your ecosystem before, oh my gosh, Joey Funk. I don't know if you meant to jump in, but hello, my friend. I hope you're doing super well. I will just as a side small note, because Joey, I don't know however long you're going to stay here. Whenever I get a massage and I feel alien finger hands, I will always think of you because of how you had once described alien fingers. Anyways, that's just like a fun small memory that no one else will understand. But Joey, I hope you're doing well. Anyways, so when someone comes in and the first email that they get, if they're net new to you, that's okay to send what you're probably already sending. But if they've already signed up for this before, or they've already been inside of your ecosystem, to not acknowledge them or to not connect with them at a deeper level because they've already connected with you at a deeper level, is to miss an opportunity to have a better engagement. There's someone that's been inside of your ecosystem, and then we have a third avatar. So it's not new. There's someone who is like already inside your ecosystem. We call them a fan. So they signed up for something in some other capacity before. Using Carlos's system, if you're leasing a car and you've signed up for that same dealership 6 months ago, I know you're in the market for a car. You probably still didn't get one yet. So if you had signed up 6 months ago and then you're signing up again 6 months later, I bet you're more likely to close on a promotional type of deal because you wanted one 6 months ago and it's been 6 months. Now maybe you're more price sensitive or whatever that reason is, depending on your business. You can probably make some clear assumptions based off of other behavior when there's a gap between when someone signs up. I mean, with a car dealership, that's such a big purchase that it's not like they're like, oh, I'm going to get a matching one for my wife all the time. That happens, but probably by exception, not by rule. So you can look into those things. You can take those pieces of data and we can start communicating more effectively with that data. I think a lot of the time when we neglect to leverage the data that's available to us, we neglect to maximize the opportunity that's been afforded to us. And when we can see that they've signed up for us before, what that allows us to do is tailor that initial piece of information just a little bit differently. Now, I have to do a caveat because not all CRMs work the way you'd want them to. Sometimes the CRMs will have different communications to their email service provider. So this is ideal when your CRM and ESP are in one centralized location. I'm talking to you, Zoho, and you having them as two bifurcated softwares under the guise of one. Get better, please. But in other solutions like High Level or HubSpot, or even with MailChimp, when MailChimp is doing better as an email service provider than others, you're like, SendLane does this really well if you're in the e-commerce space, in Klaviyo, of course. But when you want to look at is you want to connect when someone comes in to your CRM and they get an email from your ESP. CRM stands for Customer Relationship Manager. ESP stands for Email Service Provider. And when you have those two connections talking to one another or acting as the same, you're able to leverage the data and have a more sophisticated, more relevant conversation. Someone who's net new should get easy information. Hey, here's what you're looking for. Let me give a little introduction. Someone who already knows you doesn't need to be formally introduced to you. They just need to be reminded of why you're a good choice. But that's just someone who's heard of you and someone who's net new. There's also someone who's signed up exactly for this before. The way we do this at Mongoose Media, we do a webinar every Friday and we rotate through a series. The creative diversification webinar, you can literally sign up for it right now and you'll see it in place. If you've ever signed up for the creative diversification webinar, that's like 1 in every 5. When you sign up for it, if you've already been in our system, you're going to get a different email than if you're brand new to the system. And if you've already signed up for the creative diversification webinar, that's what we call asset deja vu. You're going to get a different email than if you haven't signed up for that one before, but you've been inside our system. So we have 4 ultimately different avatars: net new, We have fan, so they've already been in our system, but not signed up for this exact source or promotion. And then we have someone who has signed up for this promotion. The way we're using Among Us Media is if you want to see it live, Heather, you can probably set up like a QR code for someone that wants to test it. I mean, I don't know if this is going to break it, Heather, but break it. Let us know. If you sign up, for example, and you're not in our system, you'll get the net new one. And then you sign up again, you'll get the repeat asset deja vu. And then say you have signed up for a different webinar of ours, then you would get for that one a fan, not the net new intro. So anyways, those are 3 different examples of how you want to make sure you're talking to your cold prospects, so people who have never given you money before, and getting them to give you more money in a way that I believe most people don't do. Again, this is CRM, ESP talking to each other dependent, but it's really important to be mindful of stop telling everyone and treating them all the same as if they're strangers when you have other individuals that have already been inside of your system that you can have better and deeper conversations with. So the first 3 avatars that we were just like quickly going over, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Sleek, hello. Great to see you, friend. When you want to be mindful of is if they're new, talk to them if they're new. If they're familiar, talk to them as familiar. If they're a repeater, like an asset repeater, talk to them as if they're familiar. You're able to see those 3 inside of the creative diversification webinar if you want to sign up and see how we practice it in person. Secondly, if you're able to, again, this is dependent on your software, but what's really great and easy for e-commerce is if you know that that person is a customer, talking to them as if they're a customer and they're signing up for something differently should be different. I'm going to go back to Carlos as the example. So reply back. Hi. So I can reply back inside of Instagram. So when you look at, is someone signing up for this promotion? They're signing up for your email list. Carlos, like working at a dealership, are they signing back up for the dealership? Now you have different vehicles. Maybe you have different brands at the dealership. If someone is signing up for a truck class or a sedan class, and you maybe you have different promotions, you can count them the way I count my webinars. We have creative diversification, we have horseman, we have email maximize webinar. Like we have different subjects that we talk about, right? If they're signing up for the same category, such that I am looking for a sedan, great. Talk to them as I am signaling I'm a sedan interested individual. The way we do, hey, I'm signaling I'm interested in what you have to say on creative diversification. But if you have someone that signs up for sedan option, and then a week later is signing up for a truck or an SUV option, then that will allow us to do multiple things to convert that person higher. One, you're saying, hey, I already acknowledge that you're inside of our ecosystem. You communicate, and you can use ChatGPT in 15 minutes worth of back and forth to tailor that. Like this isn't a huge ask, but you can have more relevant, personalized conversations saying like, hey, I understand you're a fan. You've already been inside of our ecosystem. 2, you can also then do triggered notifications that will allow you to be more effective in the next steps, such that if you know that someone has signed up inside of your ecosystem again, and let's say that they're fan, they went from the sedan to an SUV truck class, and you're like, okay, great. This person was already inside of our system and just signed up again for something different that we have. You can have that notification trigger to your sales team so that they can then put that person at a higher priority than just cold calling a list of strangers, right? And you can even have time duration triggers. So at the beginning, I'd said, hey, someone might have signed up for a promotion 6 months ago, and now they're signing up for a different promotion at your dealership. Now, you can have that trigger go, because if they signed up last week and then they signed up again this week, if someone is signing up multiple times within a 30-day period, of course, caveat being it depends on what your buying cycle is, that to me is someone who's showing a higher interest and showing themselves to be a higher quality of a lead than a stranger who's signing up for the first time. And when you have systems inside of your CRMs and ESP in place that they're talking to each other and communicating the most effective leads first, you're going to be able to have conversations in time with those that need to have it. And then we need to have conversations with those in order of who's going to be fastest to convert. We've heard often about speed to lead. And so this is essentially like speed to cash. And I think a lot of times we get slowed down, bogged down by leads that just aren't ready. And when you have a follow-up system in place where you have the automations, one thing you need to do right away to make sure that you're maximizing the money is talking to them based off of where they are in the relationship to your brand. And I'm going to be repeating this a lot, right? And there was a QR code that shows you the flows for the avatars where we have fan, net new, asset, deja vu, and then you can do customer and previously unsubscribed. Those are 2 bonus ones, but they're dependent on how your CRMs and email service providers are talking to each other. You might have clients or customers isolated into a different place. So there are some it depends situations that come into here. But one of the fastest and easiest ways that you can have the most relevant conversations is to talk to them based off of the data you already know. Leverage that data and then do slight customizations. The other piece that I want to get into is that you can take that data and then pass it along to the next step of the follow-up process. So again, I'm just going to keep going down the dealership model. Because Carlos was the first one to say hi. So in that, you have someone that signed up for whatever promotional offer that you have. And then you can see based off of the time duration between when they signed up. These are for repeat signups or asset signs up. If you can see from that duration, the closer the duration is between the most recent times that they signed up, the higher likelihood they are to convert, right? So when we are looking at those that are signing up for something and then they're repeat signing up again within 2-day window, they're probably signing up again because they thought they did something wrong. No one contacted them. They couldn't find the information, or this is so hot to them. If they're signing up a week apart, they're probably signing up for a lot of your competitors and they're trying to get and compare quotes. Now, if they're signing up 30 days to 6 months apart, this is something that's eating away at them. I call them open source or open loops. This is something that is all obviously relevant to them that they haven't been able to get to quite yet. I was like, oh, Benjamin, welcome. So on some of these pieces that we want to be considerate of is if you can get the speed to lead and faster in the follow-up where you're focusing on who's the highest quality, you're going to bring more money to your pipeline with the existing data that you have. So how do we do it? When you have someone that's a repeat, you can have a notification that can go to the follow-up team. So you can send that to your sales team. You can send that to your call center. You can send that to your social setting team, whoever is going to take the next step to try to get this person inside of our ecosystem. You can set trigger links and notifications. The first one that we do is as soon as someone signs up, if they've already been inside of your system, you can say, okay, great. You can add lead scoring to their profile. Again, it's CRM dependent, but often you can add lead scoring such that every time they sign up, okay, +1, +1, +1. And then you can have a list of all of your contacts and put them in a leadership board as if they're competing in a Candy Crush race. So you can have every time that they sign up for something, someone can get a point, or maybe they get 10 points for signing up. So you have some sort of baseline. And then you can add more to the score for repeat signups if they end up clicking on emails, if they end up having a strong dwell time on the website. There's lots of things that you can do to increase the lead contact score. But the triggers that I'm going to refer to is when someone's not new, when someone's a repeat, like an asset deja vu, they've already signed up for this specific class, like they've already signed up for a sedan. Now they're signing up again for a sedan. Or if they're a fan, so they previously signed up for a sedan and now they're, let me just not make that such a high. Just realize that there's like this massive gap over my head on mobile. Sorry, guys. If they are a repeat sign up for the exact same thing, so sedan to sedan, or if they're a fan and they were previously in the truck SUV and now they're in a sedan, that information is hyper relevant for us to have a better conversation. So when you send this notification before they even get their email, you're like, oh, already in here, whether they're a fan or an asset deja vu individual, you can send them to the top of a list. You can send a notification. If there's an assigned salesperson attached to that contact, you can do an email that's going to automatically get them the right information. Hello, James. Welcome. But you want to be considerate that when they sign up, what information are they getting? And then when they sign up, who is getting the priority of that person? Again, think about this. When you know that someone has previously signed up, why wouldn't you want to work that person again? And say we bring in the customer aspect to it. Your CRM allows you to see a history of who's previously purchased from you before. I'm just gonna to give James a heart because he waved. Oh no, I did. Okay. When someone's already given you money, and then you can put at the top of the list, are they re-signing up again because they're looking at repeat purchasing? Are they referring you new business? We're using cars as the use case. So if you're a dealership, if you have another business, I'm happy to like cycle it in so I can do side by side. But I'm using dealerships for today mostly. If someone has signed up and I know they're an existing customer of mine at the dealership and I can see that they bought a year ago, I'm curious as to now why. This is likely a customer care situation. So do I want my sales team necessarily working a recent customer? Probably not. It's likely a customer care solution, and that's the page that they got to. Then I can know that, like, oh, note to self, I need to maybe contact the website team or the social media team, depending on where they came from the forum, because this person wasn't equipped with the best way to reach the customer care. I mean, they might be. There's definitely people that are going to buy another car a year later, like, and good for them. Have a great year. But in that type of scenario, that gives you an opportunity to send that notification if a customer and is signing up for something you have inside of your ecosystem within a predetermined time period. That's not worth necessarily a salesperson's attention. That goes to the customer care team because that might be a recovery option, and you don't want to lose money. So we want us to focus on the people that we want to follow up for the fastest path to cash. Okay, but what if they're a customer and they bought 3 years ago, 5 years ago? That's not an unlikely time for them to want to upgrade, especially if they're in a lease category. They're considering coming back to you. So what you can look at is if customer gave us cash X amount of time ago and is still assigned to a specific salesperson, what we can then do is have that salesperson be instantly notified before they get any follow-up communications. It's happening instant. As soon as the form comes through, they go through this like if this, then that setup, right? It's a build, it's a flow, it's an automation, it's many different names in all the same CRMs. But we can do trigger notifications to that salesperson that's been assigned to them to do a courtesy reach out. If we don't have that type of delineation that happens immediately when someone signs up, what ends up happening is that customer who purchased a car or leased a car 3 or 6 years ago, whichever that time period we're using, when they come back, they're going to get to the bottom of the queue. I don't know if anyone watched Catch Up If You Can. Irish, you vouched for it last time. But Catch Up If You Can, he's given a list, like this huge list of like 300 people to call in a single day. And they say you have to start from the top and then go to the bottom. And I think like 5 minutes in the movie, Leonardo DiCaprio goes straight to the bottom, calls, and then becomes a very effective sales individual because he went for the quality first. Following that method is the smartest way to go and the fastest way to cash. Why do you want to focus on the cold leads when you have ripe opportunities sitting in your system? One of our clients calls those hotties. And so it's one of my favorite terms to adopt. I know, Heather, you're like, oh man, if this was on my bingo card, she was going to say it for sure. So hotties, like we have cold leads, we have warm leads, and then we have hotties. We want to get those hotties to the top of the table. So again, if someone's a customer and they've previously bought from you and there's a time period which makes them ready to purchase again, if we see that they have signed up inside of our ecosystem, we communicate to them differently because they're a customer. So they get initial like, hey, great to see you again. We don't talk to them as if they're net new because they've already given us money. We notify the appropriate sales team. And if there is a salesperson still assigned to that, because that's the person who closed, you notify them first, right? So they have essentially like first right of refusal, and then they can do it as a check-in call, a courtesy call. I'm going to pretend that like it's Carrie and hey, Carrie, it's been a couple of years, just checking in. It's Lauren with Forever Lexus dealership. just seeing how's your car going for you. Is it still supporting your family? I remember last time you came in with like twin toddlers. Is it just the four of you still, or is that family expanding? I just wanted to check in, see how you're doing. And then it might be the case. Oh, Heather is saying like, yeah, that wasn't my bingo card. It might be the case that Carrie, this individual who's reciting, was like, oh my gosh, Lauren with Forever Lexus, you're amazing. Thanks for calling. I just filled out that form. I was like, I saw you. I was like, I got you. We have more twins on the way. The car that we have is not going to fit the car that our family is growing. Okay, I understand completely. Is this something that you're looking to trade in? Is this something that you're looking to like keep so you have a backup car in case you're at home with all the kids or whatever that type of situation is? This is a way that you can have more relevant conversations faster with the people who are going to get you faster to the cash. I'm not saying that everyone who's net new to your system doesn't warrant a call. They just don't warrant my most immediate attention. They get downgraded to later in the queue. Hopefully this is making sense. Team, I know that you're on this call, and these are largely for you. They're informal trainings that are ideally informal for anyone else who wants to be a fly on the wall. But I just want to check like with the team really quickly. Does it make sense how when someone comes in that's had a history of giving money and using the dealership example, why not only do we want to send them a different email in their follow-up that recognizes that, hey, we see that you've given us money. We appreciate you. Thank you for helping our business. But also that we want to send a notification to the sales team and put them at the top of the queue because they have a higher value of likelihood to cash. Just going to wait. Like I've got the team who's watching on YouTube. So I'll just be whoever's fastest to reply. I just want to make sure. Okay. Well, yeah, you're saying that this makes sense. They totally make sense. Okay, great. I just want to make sure that this is for you guys, right? And if anyone else has questions, feel free to interrupt at any time. So we want to not only send them relevant emails, but I think what we need to be super mindful of is, okay, Kevin, great, that we are bringing them to the sales team's attention. Like we're talking mostly about lead gen, of course, right now. The other thing that I want to be mindful of is we're going to send a higher priority, right? We've done this a lot with like the investment clients. But there's a second thing that we can do inside of our CRMs after we get our notification. So step one, they come in, they fill out a form before they get any type of email. We do a quick check. Okay, have they given us money? Are they already inside of our ecosystem? Have they signed up for this exact category or this product before? Are they truly net new? Maybe have they ever unsubscribed? That's, a separate thing. And we have that QR code. If anyone wants to see those flows, they're yours for free. Hello, Joseph. Welcome. Ciao. So we have to check those first. Then when they get their first email, whether it's, hey, stranger, hey, familiar face, hey, whoa, asset deja vu, hey, customer, whatever that next most immediate form of communication, there's a third step, right? Like first step, they sign up. Before they sign up and get anything, we split them into the category that makes sense. And if they're in a customer or a repeat sign up within a certain period, signal to the sales team. Then that person immediately gets the email. Then we have two more things that are going to happen within a single day of them getting that first email. And a lot of this stuff, I'm not like inventing rocket science. Like this exists. It can be a little bit to take up from an automation standpoint. You do the work once so that you get the profit for months. Man, my list is coming out. Dang it. Hey, Robin, welcome. So when you have them sign up, all the information that happens immediately before they get their first email, we've covered. Now I want to talk about what happens when they get that first email. There's a few things that we do. First is, did they open? Open rates, those are trends. We don't live by our open rates. We acknowledge the open rates to say, hey, are we at least trending in the right direction? Because if an open rate has an outlier, like say our open rate's regular 40%, then we have 67%. No, we have 69% or we have 13%. We know that whatever that subject line was drifted us away from what our steady state is. And that is because why? iOS mess it up for the rest of us. So they have all their emails opened up on iOS servers sending false positives. That's annoying. Yeah. Heather's just sending me in private chat 69. She's like, you've got 2 on my bingo card, essentially. Oh, I didn't do an evil laugh. Maybe that was the third one. I'm going to take a quick sip. Okay. So we send the email that it goes out if they opened it. So if they did not open it, I'll talk about that first. If they did not open it and it's been a full day, we're going to resend that email 23 hours later from when they opened it, 23 hours later from when it was delivered back to them with a different subject line. So we have to be mindful of the things that are happening as soon as someone comes into our ecosystem, and then what happens when they get their first piece of communication. Are they following our expectations? If I'm sending you an email, I'm expecting you to open it. And then if you open it, I'm expecting you to engage with it. If you opened it, great. I'm not going to send a repeat email, but I am going to follow up with you. There's a few ways that we do that. So if someone has opened the email, mindful, iOS, rude. But if there is an individual that is opening our email, then the next thing that we want to be mindful of is, are they interacting with our email? We always want our emails to have a call to action. Mongoose Media, we demand proof of life. Any type of reply is our favorite type of call to action. Why? Because it makes our email send records better, especially for Gmail. Gmail is notorious for landing in the promotions if you're not already ending up in spam. So it's like you graduate out of spam, then how can you be relevant in promotions and maybe show up in your main folder, primary folder? Lots more on that later. But when you have someone that's opened your email, you have a main call to action, likely a link or a button. What is the purpose of your email? If you're not doing a call to action, the purpose of your email better be a reply. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Always ask for a reply. We like to do in the PS, because when you reply, you help our domain records increase, which means that we have a better deliverability, which means we have a higher likelihood, especially during inbox heavy seasons, to land an inbox. But if you don't have that reply, so you have a button or a link, what you need to always do is, in your email service providers, have a trigger link that's based off of that URL. So what does that mean? When someone who's received that email clicks on the link that you want them to do, right? They understood the assignment. I read the email. It said, click here. I clicked here. Now what? Ideally, you're sending them to a destination that continues whatever you've teased them with, right? Let's assume that's already happening. But don't stop there. If you want to get money from your cold prospects, we need to make sure that if they click on that link, what's happening? The end user is doing the exact system we asked them to do. I sent you an email. I want you to click on the email. You've now clicked on that email. So what am I going to do? Just, okay, great. I did my job. Walk away. No, the job's like really just starting, because this is now the important piece. There's a few things we can do. One, if they click on the link, you can send a notification to sales. You can add lead scoring quality to them. You can pump them up to the top of that queue of the priority list you're going to contact. But also, you can then set a waiting period or a timer. Going back to the dealership model, say you sent an email that's talking about a rebate that's available, right? Hey, anyone that's going to get a sedan in the month of July, we're celebrating America's 250th throughout all of July. Everyone is going to get a $250 gas voucher if you come in and test drive a sedan in the month of July. Click here to claim voucher. Say that's the email. Okay, great. Lauren, click on the email because I'm like, I want $250 in gas. Have you seen the news of what's going on? Right? Like, gas prices rising. Heck yes, count me in. I click on the link and then I go to a page, and then what happens? My dog comes in. Dungeon Crawler Carl is calling to me, and then I like stop everything, walk away, and go listen to my Audible. I get distracted. My mom calls to tell me about her air filter. a number of things that can happen. Do these all sound weirdly specific? Congratulations, you get a prize. I almost want to do the AI like new achievement. Lauren was giving very personal examples. Oh my gosh, I need to like chill. I've been consuming so much Dungeon Crawler Carl that it's permeating its way into like every conversation. Yesterday at Walgreens team, I don't think I told you, no, CVS. I made friends with the cashier. His name was Noble. And then this gentleman, Muhammad, who was like a nurse who was behind me. And I spent 5 minutes after I paid for my products telling them about this book, showing them the Audible. I hope they genuinely liked it. Otherwise, they went home to tell their partners, this girl wouldn't stop talking for 5 minutes about a video game book that she's weirdly obsessed with. Okay, glad, Heather, that felt a little bit accurate. But I also know that you're consuming the Dungeon Crawler Carl series and not liking as much as I do. So it's not as aggressively changing your day to day as it is to me right now. Anyways, so when I clicked on the link because I'm like, yes, I want that gas card. Then what happens? I get distracted and I walk away and something else. Oh, the achievement voice was spot on. Oh my gosh. Okay. If that's real, like Bay, you can clip that and make that a social media post and just be like, should I start doing Dungeon Crawler voices? I've been doing Princess Donut to my partner and like telling them things and like, I want a foot massage or whatever. And like, I'm not going to do it. This is embarrassingly getting too much right now. Anyways. So, to the pieces that we're doing, when someone clicks on a link, they want to do the gas gift card and then they walked away. What are we doing right now? Likely nothing. What we want to do though, is we want to send a notification to sales team after a time period. Remember, we're going to set a timer. 23 hours max is when you should be doing this, but you want to set up a timer. Usually I say 15 minutes because 15 minutes is a fair like period for me to consume it. I looked on the website. Oh my gosh, sorry, Brandon. Hi, I'm in Northern California next week. Can we say hi? You want to come up? I'm doing a thing with Meta. Are you there? Are you invited? If not, come anyways. Hi. Sorry, you don't understand. Brandon is my favorite Californian. Wait, that's hard. Nick, love you too. Okay. Brandon, you taught me about the sword event that they do at the hotel. And now I've seen that in 3 different countries. At the St. Regis at like 6 p.m. they do like the sword ceremony where they like chop a cork off of a champagne bottle. And I will forever think about you with that. And I just want you to know, thanks, because I've done that in 3 countries now. Anyways, I'm definitely going to do that. I'm going to go back to San Francisco and do it again because that was fun. Oh, I'm going to do that on Tuesday. Okay, cool. Great. Making that plans because I'm doing a call on Tuesday. And I said, if anyone wants to join the call, they can join me in person. And I'm going to have them show them the St. Regis 6 p.m. shut off. Okay, back to this. When someone clicks on an email, say I clicked on that $250 gas voucher, 15 minutes later, I didn't do anything. Now what? You can follow up with that individual if I started the action, but I didn't follow through because that $250 gas voucher gift card or what have you would be like, okay, claim here. I read all about it and I just have to sign up for a test drive in the month of July. That's connected to me as a contact. I clicked on it. I was looking at it, but I didn't actually follow through with that choice of finalizing my date to schedule a test drive. Then we can have an automatic that sends me a notification, sends me, Lauren, the one who clicked on the gas gift card, a text message that says, hey, there's still time to claim that $250 gas gift card. Is this still something you'd like? And then you can start the conversation. Why? Because emails, we get distracted, and emails is a great place because it's a really cheap place to send stuff. But I'm not as dedicated to my emails as I am to my phone. So when someone clicks on an email, goes to the action the call to action that you want them to, then what happens? If they click on it, you can add to their lead score. If they're inside our customer or asset repeat, you can send a trigger to the sales team so that they know, hey, this is someone that's like a warmie that can now become a hottie, right? They're clicking on the action that we want them to do. So let's give them a higher priority in our follow-up queue from a personalization standpoint. And then from an automatic standpoint, we can send them a text message follow-up if we see that they didn't complete the desired action. In this example, $250 gift voucher, I went to the page, but I didn't actually still register for a test drive in the month of July. Therefore, we can have an automatic text that sends through to follow through and follow up. Is this still something you want to do? Those are some of the things that like we need to be more mindful of, that when we are looking at individuals coming into our pipeline and how can we get the fastest way to cash, is communicate with them in the most effective way. Avatar, fan, asset, deja vu, customer, potentially previously unsubscribed. And then that all happens before they get their first email, because that first email is going to be based off of the avatar categorization that they fall into. Then when they get that first email, we have two things that are going to happen so that we can make sure we can follow up fast with them for cash. One, we check if they opened it, because if they didn't open it, they didn't see the email, then I'm going to wait 23 hours later and send them the exact same email with a different subject line, assuming they continue to not open that email for the full 23 hours. Why 23 hours? Spent a lot of money in corporate America and can tell you that we are creatures of habit. If I am online at 3:48 p.m., it's very likely that I'm going to be online again at 3:48 p.m. tomorrow, because that's the time that I'm online. That's my live time. But I don't want to go at 3:48 p.m. I want to do an hour earlier. Why? Because what if I actually only got online at 2:48 p.m.? I can be at the first in line. I don't want to be at the end of my online journey. I want to be at the front of the queue, or at least as front of the queue as we can. So 23 hours later is when we want that form submission to get the follow-up email if they didn't open. Otherwise, the second thing we check is if they did open, did they click on the link? Did they do our desired action? Great. If they do, then we start that timer. 15 minutes is the default one. It all depends on what the destination you're sending them to in that email. But you start a 15-minute timer. In 15 minutes from when they first clicked on that link, did they follow up on the next action, such as scheduling a test drive date for me to get my $250 voucher? If they did, amazing. They're following all the rules. They're on your calendar. Fantastic. But if they did not, we can send a follow-up text message to continue the conversation so that we can chase the initial action we wanted them to do. If they open the email, if they clicked on this link, and 15 minutes later, they did not do the next action, which is scheduling a call, we switch from email and then send them a text message. So we reach out to them in a different fashion. Likely, you'll also have them in the queue so that they can be followed up by a real human. It's just depending on the resources you have available to you. If you don't have a sales team to follow up, or you don't have a sales team that's on top of every single lead within 60 seconds, then we can send them a text. And when that gets finally to the salesperson's queue, they can look at the communication history and see, okay, I've got next on my list, Bay. Bay, I can see she's been on my ecosystem for 3 months now. She's signed up twice. I'm just doing some quick reviewing everything I have about Bay before I give her a call. Okay, she's done this. I look at, oh, she already scheduled a test drive. I can move her off my queue. Oh, but I look and see Bay did not. Okay, let's assume she did not. I can see Bay, oh, but she clicked on this email. We sent her this text an hour ago. I'm finally able to get to it. You know what? I'm going to jump on the phone. I'm going to give Bay a call, and it's like, hey, Bay, it's Lauren with Forever Lexus. Just checking back in, seeing how you're doing, and wondering if there's anything I can do to help. It then allows you to reach that cold prospect 3 different ways, 2 of which are automated, 1 which is personalized, in the order of getting you fastest to cash by prioritizing the follow-up. Because if we don't push that to the top, if we don't push Bay, that contact who like did all this stuff, to the top of my queue, I may not get to Bay till tomorrow or the day after. And when speed to lead is real, that time delay is just a waste of resources and money. So I know it's a little bit different than the usual one we do when we're talking about email revenue maximization. I go through the flow and all that stuff. Like we've done this, I don't know, for almost 8 months. The first one we did was October 10th. So we've been doing this for a while. We've covered those quite a few times. I wanted to take this time to go over other ways that we can really focus on how fast we can follow up the cash system, and talking about, yes, the prioritization of what happens before the lead gets an email, because it determines what that first email is. And then how might we make sure that we signal to the sales team who's more valuable to others? And then how do we do additional follow-ups based off of the actions that happens with the email, whether they open the email or not, or whether they clicked on the content inside the email. So we're coming up to the end, even though we started a little bit late. Forgive us here. But just checking back into the team for those type of things. Of course, it's always software dependent, but when we think about how you can see this in real life with the creative diversification webinar, when we want to see if individuals are clicking and doing the actions, doesn't it make sense that if they don't follow through with the next step, that we send them a text message to show them we're still available and supportive? I'm really asking us to slow down a lot of when we're sending out our emails and when we're sending out, or when people are signing up for our campaigns, that we're incredibly intentional about what we actually want that person to do. Of course, sign up, but signing up is just the start. Actually showing up is why we're doing this in the first place. So what are the ways in which we can make sure that we are showing up for them? We are being approachable from every way possible in order for them to show up for us in the way that's most convenient to them. So I just want to double check and see, like, is this making sense for all of you, for those in the pack, that before we send them anything, we check what avatar do they fit into. And then when we send something, we check, did they open? Did they click? Oh, Scott's in the house. Hello, friend. Just saying hi. We're wrapping it up, but it's always good to see you. Hi, friend. When we are sending these emails, if we are not going to pay attention to the actual outcome we want from the email, then why are we sending them to begin with? It's just being noisy. It's being loud. We want to be more intentional. So when we send an email, what is the purpose of that email? If the email is to get them to visit a page, what is the next step we want them to do on that page? If we are not going to follow up and check if they're doing the intended actions, and we're just going to set it and forget it, cool. That's how we can be lazy marketers in 2026. But if we want to be intentional marketers, when every time we send an email, every time we set up a campaign, what is it that we actually want? I've been talking a lot about this week about how we need to be dedicated to done. In order for us to be dedicated to done, it means that the campaign and what we're looking at doesn't stop with how many leads do we get to sign up. Dedicated to done means how many of those leads that we got to sign up went ahead to the next step of the funnel. So, okay, I'm glad. Bay, Guam, you're saying this makes sense. Checking the conversation can be 100% personalized. Yeah, when we're segmenting it out of the 4, we're not sending the same email if someone's new to someone who's given us money, to someone who's already been in our ecosystem, or to someone who's already signed up for this exact same thing before. And we are not stopping our communications with, hey, here's the email, figure it out yourself. No way. We have a lot more resources in place. And then for our clients and stuff, we can make sure that if someone is clicking on the email and they do the action, let's follow up with them. Let's chase what matters. And again, as I said, like all week, how can we show that we're dedicated to done? We make sure that done doesn't mean it's live, that it's working to collect leads. It's live and it's progressing those leads to what we actually want them to do and getting them closer to customers. We're signaling who's the fastest to get to cash. We're triggering who needs to be followed up in the right order. We are making sure that all things are talking to each other in the way that the technology allows it. Again, it's dependent on the CRM or the ESPs that you're working with. But that's the type of stuff that if we want to talk about how to convert cold prospects into cash the fastest, it's prioritizing those that need to be followed up with and following up with those that are the fastest to cash. Okay, cool. I don't think there are any more questions. If there are, feel free to send them in or, message me on Slack. To everyone who's joined us, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you being patient with me as I jumped on a little late. And if you've made it this long, you rock. But the other thing is, if you think an hour is not enough and want to participate in Madness on September 5th, we are going to take this concept of marketing training, but less informal, more structured, and do something a little mad, something a little ridiculous, and something a little longer than an hour. And by a little longer, I mean a whole 23 hours longer, because I'm going to do a 24-hour nonstop marketing stream where we'll have special guests, we'll have fun surprise and delights, and get really deep and sharing some screens and doing this in a more formal way than the informal one that we do every Friday. So that's coming up on September 5th. I'm just making a race for Heather to put a QR code if she can and is able to. It's, you go to laurenpetrillo.com/marketing-madness. You're welcome to join. For sure, it's happening September 5th. It will be chaos. It will be fun. And good luck. I'm saying that to myself. Good gravy. Yeah, Kevin's like, I didn't know this was happening 24 hours straight. I'm just going to pretend I'm a Twitch streamer. Worst case scenario, if I start deteriorating, I'm just going to start going on playing games and just like, who wants to play games with me? Help me stay awake for a full 24 hours. So again, thank you so much. Oh, Scott, like, if you want to come on, 100% will be like, you can do full promotion of Merchant Mastery and roast some of the best e-commerce campaigns we've seen of the year. But yeah, it's going to be madness and hopefully fun. So thanks, everyone. I'm excited too. Appreciate everyone who was able to join. Have a wonderful rest of your week. And for those that made it this long, yes, I will be in speaking in Stanford on Monday and an AI symposium with Meta and some really fun faces. But I'm not going to talk too much about it now. I'll say more on it later. Of course, Scott, you get an invite. You get to choose whatever time you want. I'd be super excited to have that with you. And for the rest, have a happy Friday. And go out there and skill. There we go. I was trying to not make it go. Yeah.